Hey everyone, so I'm not doing my John Maxwell today, but today was my grandmother's birthday, my dad's mom's birthday, and she was a very special lady to our family, to all of us. She was somebody who helped to raise us. She used to cook for us. She taught us a lot of the Goan recipes, Goan traditions, about our faith. We always prayed together. We prayed the Angeles together at home at 6 o'clock. We ate at the table together, and she was an inspiration to all of us. She did a lot for the extended family, and we all helped each other in Zimbabwe, because in those days, like today, things were very, very hard, and if you didn't help each other as families, there was no way for you to survive. You would end up being on the street or homeless, and nobody was ever turned out onto the street. Nobody was told to go on welfare. Nobody was told you are unappreciative of anything that's done for you. We had people in our family who, one of my uncles, he couldn't hold a job, and my grandfather tried to help him to get a business going, but in the end, he decided to just stay at home, and he used to come and visit us. My grandmother used to help him with clothing, with food, and she was such an inspiring lady. She used to organize dance parties in Mutare, in Kwekwe. She helped to push to get us, the Indians and Coloreds, education together with her mom, and she played a big role in the church as well. So we all miss her. I miss her especially. I think of her often. And today is World AIDS Day. We had a lot of workers in our homes, in our businesses, and we did have workers who got AIDS, and they carried on working for us. Some of them eventually passed away. They couldn't come back to work because we didn't have the treatments that we have now. But my grandmother was the one that got me to go for music lessons. She helped me to come forward in life, and we missed her. I missed her very much when she went to America, and she died in America, in California. I guess she knew that her time was coming, and she called us to say goodbye to us, and that night she passed away. So I don't know, maybe God gives people a sixth sense, but she always said that she just felt like she had a cold, but she was being treated for leukemia. So I remember my grandmother today on her birthday. I prayed for her at church, and she had a strong faith, and she was always very jovial. She missed my dad a lot. She used to cry herself to sleep, and I used to sleep in the room with her, so sometimes she used to tell me, just come and hold me. And she used to cry and say, why did God do this to us? Why did he take my son? But it was one of those things. My dad was born with a heart condition that was incurable. He had a hole in his heart, and he had 3 surgeries by the time he was 39. So I used to feel for my grandmother. I used to go with her to the grave, to put flowers on the grave, to clean the graves, because those were the final resting place. The final resting place for whoever had died in the Goan community. We used to go and visit the graves, clean them, put flowers on them, say prayers there. So my grandmother did a lot for a lot of people, and she missed Zimbabwe. She always used to write to me and tell me, I miss you, I want to come home, I don't like it in America, I wish I could come back to Zimbabwe. But I guess, the Bible, like the Bible says, when we are young, we do what we want. When we get old, other people decide for us, which is sad. But especially for somebody like me, like my grandmother, I have nothing. I just have my books, my education. I have the good deeds that I've done for people. But I've never had that break like my grandmother. My grandmother also started her own business, but at the end she was left penniless. And it's the same thing with me. The way my life is going, I have nothing. And if my aunt from America wasn't helping me and to pay my rent and to be able to make ends meet, I wouldn't manage. So this world is a cruel world, and the good people always land up suffering, which is sad. But she left a very good legacy, and she left a good example, and she lived a good life. So my grandma was a really nice woman, and she was a strong woman. Who knows how this life turns out? Sometimes it turns out that the rich, the evil, they are the ones who thrive in this world. And the people like me who do good, we'll end up with nothing. We've helped everybody in the family, but when we need them, nobody is there for us. And it's sad. My grandmother didn't deserve to die in California, because she always wanted to come back to Zimbabwe and be in Zimbabwe. But that's the way life turned out for her, unfortunately. And at least she was with family, she wasn't on her own. So I guess that's a blessing in itself. But she used to always cry whenever I used to call. My uncles used to let me call Colette to speak to her. She used to always ask me, when are you coming to see me? And then when I wanted to go, my uncle told me, no, you don't come. So I never got to see her. I never got to say goodbye to her in person. And it was hard for me. It was very hard. But I give thanks for her life and for everything she did for our workers. She helped to put them through schooling, their children. She helped educate them. And she left a good example for me, especially with her faith. She left a good example. And who knows why some people are born, some children are born with heart diseases and with, all kinds of illnesses, and others are born in perfect condition. My uncles are fine. My aunt is fine. They didn't have that problem. Only my dad. So yeah, I used to feel for my grandma. But she's in a better place. She's in heaven with the Lord. And I'm grateful for her life. And if you have your grandmothers with you, appreciate them and enjoy them. I enjoyed my grandmother. And I had a lot of fun with her. She used to dance with us. She used to sing with us. And she always made the most out of life. She enjoyed her gardening. She had beautiful rose garden and all the fruit trees. And I learned a lot from her, just from watching her. And I hope that other people have as good a grandmother as I had, because she was a very, very special woman.